All righty. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it may be when you guys are tuning into this broadcast. I am your international award winning author, literary extraordinaire, and awe inspiring coach, Tennille M. Jackson. But on today's episode, I am just mom, and I am so happy and proud of what today's show is. As you all can see, I am joined by two very special guests. Pardon us for being a little bit late. We had to get in and get situated. As you all are coming on, please feel free to say hello, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. Please feel free to say hello. Let us know where you all are watching from. And so, if you all saw the captions and the previews, if you will, that I did for this show, this is anniversary time for us. We are extremely excited over here. Y'all can't look at our faces and tell, but they're excited. Angel just did a smile, so they're a little excited. Ariana, like, whatever. But we are excited because you guys have kind of been on this journey with us. And about literally a year ago today for Angel, and then yesterday made a year for Ariana. They did their back surgeries. They both had cases of scoliosis. And so you guys saw the pictures that I posted. That was them in the hospital the morning of their surgeries. I think Ariana's surgery was about 5.5 hours long. Angel's surgery was about 8 hours long. And those were probably like the longest times of my life, just being in the waiting room, waiting for the word to come back that everything is okay, right? And so we've gone through that. Hey, Miss Beatrice. So we've gone through that. We've been there, done that, as the song says. And we came back, I want to say in November. No, it was December. So December 1st is when they came back. Now the doctor said that a complete recovery could take anywhere between 6 months to a year, but they were actually up and going. I want to say maybe a few weeks, maybe 5 or 6 weeks later, they were up and going. And so, believe it or not, guys, this is a year, 1 year later. And so, we want to come on and talk about it, right? So, what do y'all think? Who should we start with? Should we start with Ari or start with Angel? Who want to start first? I know I can't believe it's been a year either, Deatra. So, Ariana, we'll start with you since your official day was first. So, you went October 19th, 2020. So, let's kind of go back and revisit it, and we're going to kind of bring the people up to speed. That morning, do you remember that morning before surgery, like the morning of surgery? Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. So, how are you feeling on that day?
Scared and nervous. I was like, I don't know how it's gonna go. I don't want nothing bad to happen. Just want it to be over.
And so for you, like, are you personally glad that you had the surgery?
Yeah.
You want to go into why? Like, why are you glad? Like, what's the difference? Hey, Kanita.
Um, because I'm better now. I know the back it can have bad effect on your health too, your spine, and then because I don't want to curve back.
Yeah. So okay, so let's go and explain this. So hey Rochelle, so Ariana and Angel both had scoliosis, but they had different, it affected them in different ways. Ariana's curve was, I think it was like a 60 or it was 62 or 65%, something like that. And the her effect, it was causing like a hump. It was causing her to have like a humpback. So she was like constantly humped over, and had it been left unattended, the doctor said it would have left her where it was a permanent deformity. So that was the reason for hers. Angel, on the other hand, had what we call an S curve. Her curve was at an 85%. And what he said was that had she not gotten her surgery, it would have caused breathing problems for her because it was already to the point where her spine was curving into her lungs. And so, left unattended, it would have created respiratory problems for her in the future. Hey, Miss Tanya. And so, today, ma'am, marks exactly 1 year since your surgery. How do you feel now?
I still feel the same. I don't know. I mean, I'm glad.
Like, do you remember that day, the morning of? Do you remember that?
Yeah, because I had to get up early, but then when we got there, it was issues, so I still could have been asleep. Because we didn't start surgery till like 8 something, I think. So,
No, yours was even later than that. You were supposed to start at about 6 something, and then they were saying, "Okay, you know what? We had an issue, so it was supposed to then be 8." It was close to noon before you started. So you were, and then we knew the doctor told us that because of the severity of your curvature, the doctor told us that it would probably be at least 6 or 7 hours for your surgery, and it actually went into the 8 hour mark. It's a little over 8 hours. Do you remember coming out of surgery? And this is to Angel. Do you remember coming out of surgery?
um, not really. I just remember like opening my eyes, I seen the ceiling first. That's all I remember.
Yeah, well, I was there. When you came out of surgery, the whole floor knew you were out of surgery. Don't look at me like that because they did. You came out of surgery like, why is it cold? Where's my blanket? I want my medicine. Ariana, do you remember coming out of surgery?
No, not at all.
Yeah, you scared me because when you came out of surgery, you were not lucid at all. Like you were still connected to your tubes.
Yeah, that's why I was scared too, because I seen Ori and two. I was like,
I
I'm
don't
Ori too.
remember any of it.
So why don't you tell what your memory was with Ariana?
I remember Mama had FaceTimed us, and I seen Ori on the tools, and she could barely speak. I was like, I do not want to go no more. Like, I just have to stay on my back or something. It
Yeah,
was,
it was scary for a minute with Ariana because for whatever reason, her after effects were a little bit worse than Angel's were, and so, well, okay, I'm being. It was like okay, so like as a mom, so all of you all who are watching, if you are moms, and you know what I'll say, even as a parent, it is very nervousing to put it mildly to see your child connected to all of these tubes and it was just it was a lot for me emotionally to come in. She was still knocked out, so she was still sedated. She still had she had these breathing mask on, had these tubes connected to her, and so it was just it was a lot. It was a lot to take in, and so maybe about an hour or so because the doctor, well, the nurse was like, give her about another hour, and the medicine should wear off, and so once she woke up, she was in excruciating pain. Do you remember like how bad you were hurting? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Want to kind of talk about it a little bit?
Uh, I remember like trying to like roll around. I remember like holding on to pillows and stuff because like it hurt so bad.
Yeah, I mean because you couldn't move on your own. Like, um, Angel, what was for you? Do you remember like how you felt like in terms of the way that your body felt after the surgery?
I don't like my back was heavy. Like, it was hard to pull myself up and like lift up by myself. I really need people to like help me scoot up and stuff.
And so your back probably felt heavy because you have a metal rod. You have a metal rod in your back. Both of you ladies have metal rods in your back and you have screws in your back. And so that could probably be the reason why it felt a little bit heavy because it's heavier than it was before. And so, you know, now that you all have come through, I mean, like, it's really crazy to me because, again, having been in the situation and it was something else. I remember like it was yesterday being told that they both needed surgery, so getting over that blow, and then you know the doctor saying I don't think that it's a good idea to have both of them go through surgery at the same time because it's a lot for you, but you ladies both were like adamant that you wanted to do the surgeries together. Now, having gone through the surgeries, are you glad that you did it at the same time, or do you wish that you would have done it one person and then let them heal and then do the other one? Ariana, then Angel, either one.
Same time was better.
I thought it was better because if I seen her going through it like I did, I had to. see everything that I had to go through. I wouldn't want to do it for real.
rather than just going through
At
it
the same time,
together.
yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. Um, being the primary caretaker in that situation, I honestly I would still say with everything that we had to endure because it was very, very stressful and very difficult. I'm trying to do the best words I know how going through because the first night Ariana's in the hospital and I'm knowing like I'm seeing what Ariana is going through. But if I can say it like this, I know that Angel has a higher threshold for pain than Ariana does. And so no, but that's true because you did that little roll, but you don't really
Not
like pain.
necessarily, depending on what type of pain.
Well, that's true because I will say this: Ariana didn't take any medication. Like once she came out of sedation, and I want to say that first night when they were giving her the medication, and she learned that the medication was girl. I'm trying to tell you, Beatrice, but when she learned that it was the medication that was constipating her, then at that from that moment on, and they were in the hospital for a week, she refused medication. So like she literally went cold turkey. Whereas Angel, on the other hand, what was you saying? You wanted your medicine, Ari's medicine, everybody's medicine, right? And so I will say that. So like in that regard, Ariana was definitely a little bit. She had more of a tolerance for pain because if anybody has ever had surgery of any kind, when I had my hysterectomy, I did that. I didn't take any pain. They gave me morphine. They gave me what's the one not ibuprofen. It's another one that's really, really strong. It's like 800 milligrams. I didn't take anything. Like for me, it was just let me meditate and focus the pain away. And that's exactly what Ariana did. This one, on the other hand, was like kick rocks with that, bring me my medicine, and give me a little bit of extra medicine on top of that. But for me, seeing Ariana undergo all of what she went through that first night, it was really scary for me because in my head, I'm knowing that Angel's about to go through the exact same thing the next night. And, going through that first night with Ariana was really hard because she was totally stiff. Like she's literally stiff as a board. She can't move. It's literally all dead weight because there is no moving. It's too painful to move at all. And then because there's a metal rod now in your back, you're trying to adjust yourself. And every time you make any type of adjustment, that's painful. And so to just see them, because for me, I would rather take the pain for my children. Like there's so much stuff that I've taken for them that they would never know about. So to have to see them in pain and not be able to do anything about it, but just try to make it as comfortable as possible for them. So Ariana's just saying room A, and I'm grateful because the way that the nursing staff did it, initially they told us that it wouldn't be possible even to have them on the same floor. And so not only were they on the same floor, they were both in ICU for 2 days, and they were right next to each other. And so it made it easier for me to go back and forth because their dad was there. Initially Ariana said, well, since you were here with me the first day and I know how hard it is, you can go with Angel for her first day and keep dad with me. And then what happened, Ariana?
He don't got no patience, and he was just grumpy. He was bitching around, and I couldn't do that.
Oh my
I
God.
couldn't do
Daddy
it.
was it for me. He did everything I
No.
needed him to do. He wasn't bothering me too much. He asked me if I needed food or not. He was had a little attitude, but I get attitude with Daddy back. And he was sneaking me water and stuff because I was thirsty. They told me I couldn't get no water. Daddy was sneaking me water. I was happy.
But by day two, you were calling me and you were like, Mama, can you come over here? Because daddy ain't doing nothing.
And because I'm the one, I I need to be sleeping stuff. I'm trying to ask daddy something. I look over, he over there sleep. But you can't be sleeping. I'm asleep. So we both can't sleep at the same time. What's going on?
So for me, like we can laugh at it now, right? Because this kind of goes back to the initial point of saying, would I, so they both said that they would, if they had it over to do it again, they would do it the exact same way, whereas they got it done on the same day. And for me, initially I was like, man, maybe I would have done it differently. But honestly, even though it was very overwhelming, I think that it worked best this way because if I would have had to just go straight, six, 8, 12 weeks with one of them and then turn back around and go 6, 8, 12 weeks with the other one of them. And who's to say, like with my girls, they are so used to pulling each other through. So it's very likely that had they went independently or individually, that it may have taken them a longer time to recover. But I really feel like that they kind of bounced off of each other's energy. They bounce off of each other's strengths and being able to talk each other through it. And they've been like that because these two of my four girls, these two are the closest in age. They're only 13 months apart. And since they were born, they've always been that close with each other where they kind of just pull each other through. Sometimes Ariana, she is the oldest sister, but sometimes she gets to act like the older sister because most of the time, even though Angel's the younger sister, she kind of acts like she kind of acts like she's the older sister. But in this situation, they really like when I tell you how they pulled each other through, and it was very comforting for me, as mom, it was very comforting to see them work things out together to make sure that they were always, Ari, you need this, or Mama, you can go ahead and help Ari. I'll figure it out. Because when it came to recovery time, Angel definitely was a trooper. Like when I say Angel was pulling herself up, moving around, she like, ain't nobody got time to be sick. I'm like, Angel, baby, you're not supposed. I come to the room to help her, and Jerome is asleep, and she halfway to the room. I said, Angel, you supposed to have somebody. Daddy was asleep. I couldn't get the nurses. I'm not gonna keep on using the bathroom on that thing, so I'm going to the.
I couldn't even use it on the thing because that's what me and my nurse was getting into it because she's sitting up there. She told me she's like, just try and pee, and I'm like, ma'am, I can't. I need to use the actual bathroom. She tried to put the little water faucet on like that. I'm like, ma'am, I can't use the little thing. So surely enough, soon as I went to the real bathroom, I actually used the bathroom. I'm like, ma'am, I know what I'm talking about. And it was just empty. He was like, just try. I was like, no, I need to go to the bathroom.
So they wasn't having it. And so like I think once we made it home, right? Because we were in the hospital for a week basically. And once we got home, what was the most difficult thing for you guys? Whoever wants to chime in first can.
Getting adjusted back to the stuff because like the hospital beds is different than the beds at home. It's not as comfortable, and then you can't sit up for too long because then your back start hurting. So then you gotta lay back down, get back comfortable. So
Ari?
I don't think it was really hard for me. It was probably hard for Autumn and Drea because I woke up at like 3 in the morning hungry. Like I wanted I wanted the actual meal. I need them to cook for me, and I know they was tired. So it's probably hard for them. But I wanted to go back home. I didn't want to be in the hospital anymore.
no, I wanted to be still.
I didn't want to be in the hospital.
It, now I don't know that you know this. Ari, I don't remember if we said it or not, but the day, so Angel actually was not supposed to be released until I think Monday, but Ariana was able to be released on Saturday. And so they asked Angel, because when I say Angel was pushing herself through physical therapy, because there were certain things that had to be done in order for them to be able to be released. And whether she felt like it or not, this child pushed herself through it. She's like, I can do it. I can do it. Ari is waiting on me, because Ari actually got the nod to go home on Friday. And so once she knew that Angel could get out on Saturday, she was like, well, no, Angel could get out on Sunday. She was like, well, I'll stay till Saturday. And so then once Saturday got here, Ari was like, I'm ready to go home. I changed my mind. I'm ready to go home. I said, but Angel ain't ready to get mom. You can stay here with her. I'm just ready to go home. So then I told Angel that Ari was ready to go home. And so at that point, she made a huge sacrifice. And when I say she pushed herself just so that they could approve her through physical therapy. And when we were getting ready to go, I, she was crying, and Angel doesn't cry often. And she said, Mommy, I actually wasn't ready, but I did it for Ari. And that, y'all already know, that don't take a lot to make me emotional. And to know that she would go through that sacrifice for her sister, where she should have still, because let me say this also. Angel's surgery, again, not only was it longer, Angel had more complications in her surgery, which was the reason why it was longer. So she had tubes coming out of her. She had a lot of excess drainage for days that was coming out. And every time she would move, I mean, even once we came home, probably for the first few weeks, do you remember how your back was constantly, it was constantly opening up and bleeding, and I didn't know what in the world was going on. I'm calling the doctors like, why is this happening? And so it was more difficult for Angel to make it through. But that's just a testament to her will and her determination. Like, her whole thing was, I'm finna walk. I don't care. And I would tell her, Angel, you pushing yourself too much. You are not supposed to be sitting up yet. You're not supposed to be doing this or this. And I think that the first time that your back opened back up, you remember that, like, you then for the next maybe 2 days, you actually laid down for a little bit. Like, once you saw that this could actually go to the left, you allow somebody to help. And I'm bringing this to the forefront because, we're talking about this surgery, but this is a life lesson, right? Where it doesn't matter how strong you are, everybody needs help sometime. And so you shouldn't allow pride to, and I'm not saying that she allowed pride to, I'm just saying in this life lesson, you should not allow pride to keep you from asking for help, or in many cases somebody is offering help, and we allow pride to get us to not even accept the help that's being offered. But with these girls here, when I tell you by November, so they were coming home. We were coming home October the 27th, I think, something like that. It was almost a week. Hey, Miss Deborah, thank you. Yes, God is good all the time. And we were home not even a month, and they asking, when can we go back to church? I said, church. I mean, like, again, to Deborah's point, God is good, but God is good from where we was at and not. You understand what I'm saying? Because you had some churches that wasn't going back to church yet because of Corona. Our church had began to, reassemble, and so they were. Here's the thing: when we were driving, anybody remember what the drives felt like? Go ahead, Ari did the roll out. Go ahead,
Every bump was so painful. It felt like the roads was just jacked up. I mean, every time it was ridiculous.
And then he just don't kind of feel like he was doing it on purpose. Every bump, I'm telling them, like, the bumps kind of hurt. So you can watch every bump, 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 bump. It's just everything.
Yeah, drive a little slower or something.
He go a little faster. It's just opposite.
So I think his response was, ride with your mama then. And so, like, so I'm riding, and I think we're literally going maybe 10, 15 miles an hour. Like, there was no expressway while we were, because it was just very difficult. But again, I say all of this speaks to their resilience, because the average person would have just been somewhere laying down trying to wait and recover. Why do you think it is, and y'all can choose who want to answer first, why do you think it is that you wanted to go, even though your bodies were basically saying don't go and rest? Why is it that you guys feel like it was so important to push past that?
Like, in general.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to be down forever. I was trying to get up and go, and I know it's probably gonna take longer if I ain't push myself.
Well, for me, like with the church, JD always say about the church is the hospital, and sometimes when you go somewhere, even like we went the first time, we couldn't stay the full service,
That's
but
good for
when
you.
just having like that, just having that glimpse of like this is where I need to be. I want to be back, at my church home. It pushed me to want to keep going and trying to get better.
Hey, Miss Shalonda, go ahead. Angel, were you finna say something or no?
I was gonna say something different.
Oh, well, let me make this point, then you say what you want to say. Like, so what happened was when we went, first of all, let's say this, I was constantly being very cautionary. I'm like, are y'all sure y'all want to go? We don't really have to go. It's still supposed to be at least 2 more months before y'all leaving. We ain't supposed to be going nowhere. Are y'all sure that y'all want to go? And so with these two, I don't know where they get this from, but once they mind get made up about something, then that's just what it is. And so for me, it was like if they have a made up mind to want to press, who am I to stop them? You know what I'm saying? Like they're the ones who had went through this entire ordeal. They're the ones that should be laying down, but their spirit is wanting for them to press. So why in the world would I kill that spirit? So it's like, okay, well, let's get the pillows, let's get the bandages, let's get everything that we got to get. It might take us an hour to get there because normally it takes me probably about 20-25 minutes, but we got to drive about 15 miles an hour. They like, I don't care. And I told them on the way, I said, if you get in pain, I don't care if we only been there for 15-20 minutes, because again, at this point, they're not even supposed to be sitting up for more than maybe an hour max is how long they're supposed to be able to sit up at this point. And I told them, if we get there, you don't have to feel bad. I don't care if we only done been there for 10 minutes. If we get there and you ready to go back, that's fine. Let me know. And so when we got there, obviously the people were very happy to see them. How did it make y'all feel to see people's reaction when they saw y'all?
I was happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what was the point? Do you remember your point that you were going to make? Because you said you was going to say something different.
I was talking when I was in the hospital. I was kind of scared because I remember it was one night. I don't remember when it was, but my nurse that was in there, she was trying to give my blood like with the needle, and she could not get it, so she had to bring in another doctor and another doctor. And I was kind of scared because I ain't know if they try to take out my blood now, but I didn't know why they couldn't find her, and I was just a little scared. And it was hurting me. The needles be hurting and stuff. I was waiting for them to stop. And I
Yeah.
was trying to sleep.
So I can't stop. So basically, phlebotomist comes in and couldn't find. So like when they're in the hospital, they already have the IV, right? That's in their hand where they should just be able to put something back in, but for whatever reason, it didn't work with Angel, so they had to like try to find veins in her arm. But again, I say Angel was having a lot of bleeding issues because of the surgery, which made it more difficult for them to be able to find her veins because she was still leaking. Like there was an entire, she had a bag, like I want to say, if you guys know what a catheter bag looks like, so it was basically one of those that was connected to her to catch all of the blood that was steadily coming out. So she literally had a hole in her back, and it was like and it was steadily like leaking not just blood but all different types of fluids. And so her bedding and stuff had to be changed a lot because while she was sleeping, because again, they're laying flat on their back, so when she would roll over, her bed obviously is messed up, so she had to have different bedding and stuff. Ariana, though, yes, she had the same surgery, she didn't have those type of complications, so she was not having any leakage from her back. And so the fact that she was losing blood there made it difficult for them when they had to come and take her blood. And see, this child right here talking about Angel, she outspoken like her mama. So even though she's very respectful with it, but they came in one too many times and they done poked her one too many times. And she was gonna let them know that you done poked me one, two. If you ain't got it by now, you not gonna get it, okay? Like you're not gonna keep on sticking me. I already got to deal with this rod in my back. I got to deal with not being able to move. You not gonna keep on sticking me. And
Remember when I first tried to like, when I first started trying to walk and stuff, and the nurses that we had were just so ghetto. I don't know what was going on with
yeah,
them.
yeah,
It was so rude.
we didn't have like Angel had totally different nurses than
Yeah.
Ari had, and I was trying to get the nurses for Ari to Angel because again, I'm saved and sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost. But when you mess with my children, uh, just pray harder. I'm gonna just say it like that because we just thank God for deliverance. And so I was trying to the best way that I knew how to let them know that we needed some different people because what you're not gonna do, you're not gonna holler at my child who just got finished having a surgery because she's not moving the way that you feel that she should move at the pace that you feel that she should move. That's what you're not gonna do. And so, like even if it would have took me calling some other people to handle the situation for me so I could have stayed mellow, like we were basically almost there. But in general, the staff was great. We just had to switch out couple people because this is already a hard enough journey. And so, whereas in their minds, they felt that that was necessary to push them, what I was trying to explain to them is Angel is already pushing herself. Like my children are, they're, I don't want to necessarily say self starters, like they're totally independent. Like if they know, they already know what got to get done, so they're gonna do it. So they already have that own pressure on themselves. They don't need you to add no other pressure. Like if she's telling you that she can't, this child, not even 24 hours after having surgery, trying to sit up by herself, trying to walk by herself. So she's already doing more than what she's supposed to be doing. If she's telling you she's sore, she's sore. If she's telling you it hurt, it hurt. And so if you can't comprehend that, then I'm gonna need you to leave. And I'm gonna need you to find somebody who can comprehend that. So hey Miss Dolores, but that's girl, let me tell you something. I've never been to Franciscan, but and again, in general, the hospital where we were in general was great. We just had a couple of staff members that we had to switch out. So I want to kind of now fast forward because we done took everybody back through what happened a year ago. Now fast forward, and it's a freaking year later. First of all, matter of fact, let's fast forward 6 months. Do y'all remember your first check-in? So in April, we had to go see Dr. Sullivan so that he could check you guys out. Do y'all remember that visit? Anybody remember the visit? Y'all don't really remember the visit. So let me tell you what I remember. So when we got there, and he looked at them, he was very surprised. He was like, wait a minute, y'all up and walking, and because remember he thought that y'all, well, I don't know if y'all, but he thought that y'all should be in more pain than y'all were. He was surprised to know that y'all had already went back to school, even though it was online, but that y'all was going back to school. And with Angel, he specifically said to me, he's like, she hasn't been in pain. She hasn't, like he had a whole checklist worth of questions that he had for me because he honestly thought that she was going because of all the drainage and all the problems, and he was saying because of her weight, he was thinking that her healing was going to be totally a lot slower. He was expecting her to have a lot of different infections. He was expecting all these different things, and I said, well, that's what you was thinking, but God already said that they was healed. So and that's what we do faith walk around here. We don't be caring about what the doctors say. We just we make sure that we be obedient to our extent, but then we turn it over into God's hands. And so now they are coming up on their next appointment. They were supposed to have done it already, but it's been rescheduled to November for their official 1 year follow up. But now here it is, after having done the after school, I mean the all of the surgeries and everything, school officially started back. And even before school started back, this one over here, she in dance classes. Want to talk about what dance class looked like for you when you first went back? Like, were you ever concerned that you wouldn't be able to do it?
Not that I wouldn't be able to do it, but like not being able to do everything that I want to do.
Do you feel like you're 100% back now? Do you still feel as though you got a lot or further to
Because
go?
I just be able to do back bends like it's nothing. I can't even like bend back to a certain extent now.
And remember what I was telling you, it may take time. And because you have a metal rod in your back, we have to ask Dr. Sullivan if doing a back bend is something that you will be able to do. So there are certain things that because of the surgery you may not be able to do, but we don't let that deter us, right? You try it, but if it begins to if it's hurting, then we don't want to push too hard. Then Ariano here is not only playing the guitar, but now she's playing the sax, and these are kind of heavier instruments. Like when you resume playing the guitar, like was any difference to you from before the surgery to after the surgery?
When I first started playing with the acoustic guitar is bigger, so you get to stretch your arm over so you could reach the strings. First, I couldn't reach the strings because I couldn't stretch my arm,
And so now,
but now I can. It's no problem.
and it doesn't even seem like, and this is what I keep saying. I don't know if you all saw it, but it was maybe what, a month or 2 months ago, when you were at Navy Pier, right? Was it that was just a couple months ago, doing her dance recital? And y'all don't even understand, like, under the best of circumstances, like under normal circumstances, I am just that cheerleading loudmouth mama. Okay, you gonna know that I'm in the building. But here this child is, like, not even a year out of surgery. And when I tell y'all, like, and I showed y'all, I ain't gotta tell y'all, when y'all saw the video of her doing all these dance moves, like up, down, back, forth, like it's nothing. And she's still at this point, I still don't believe that she comprehends the magnitude of what she underwent, right? Because in her mind, it's still, well, why can't I do this? I used to be able to do this. And I don't think that she really comprehends the fact that your entire body is there. This ain't even, you got cut open like with a hysterectomy, a C-section, like what I had. You got cut open and then, sewn back. You got cut open and inserted a foreign object, a few of them. You got a whole metal rod, you got a lot of screws that ain't supposed to be in your back. So the fact that it ain't even a year yet, like it, there are other people. Obviously, they're not the only people who've ever gone through this surgery, but they've healed so quickly. Do y'all remember when Ava reached out to talk to y'all? How did What did that do for you guys in talking to Ava?
Mhm. For me, it gave me hope. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be able to like do all this stuff again.
For me, it's like y'all know when you if you watch a show and then like somebody else already watched it and they tell you like a little bit, they're not supposed to tell you, but you see a little bit, so you get some hope. You're like, oh yeah, yeah, I'm gonna finish this show. It's like that.
And so it made me happy because one of my girlfriends has a daughter who had gone through the exact same situation. So let me insert a quick life lesson. This is how come it is so important. I tell y'all this all the time, to get around like-minded individuals, get a mentor, get people who have already been where you're trying to go, get people who've already done what you're trying to do. Because to use their words, they can tell you, they can give you a glimpse of what it is, so that then gives you hope, right? So I don't care if you're talking about a surgery, I don't care if you're talking about opening a business, having a child, getting a house, opening up a bank account, your first job. It does not matter what it is. When you can connect with someone who's already done what you're trying to do, it gives you not just a sense of hope, encouragement. It kind of lets you know, like, this is how it's supposed to be. A lot of times we don't finish things because we don't even start them because we're so concerned, either I'm the only person that's doing it, or if we're in the midst of doing it, am I doing this right? And we start, allowing those voices in our heads to take over, and then it discourages us, and then we feel defeated. So then it's like, never mind. Whereas if you talk to somebody else, they like, oh yeah, that means you almost right here, because once you hit this road, then this is what's going to happen next. So now you're almost anticipating what comes next, as opposed to fearing what comes next. So in the spirit of what comes next, Ariana, I'll start with you. What comes next for you now that you are a year out? You're past the whole scoliosis surgery. Like, is it important to you? So I'll ask this first question: is it important to you to do for others what Ava did for you? So in other words, is it important for you to, whether it's be an advocate, or someone who goes and continues to bring awareness about scoliosis? Is that something that's important to you, or are you just glad that you kind of made it through?
It is important. I post about my experience sometimes, like on my social media. Sometimes people like comment and say something they going through, or like what should they do. You think that like I do want to make it like known or more aware and try to help if I can.
Angel, what about you?
Uh,
Like, do you feel like this is something you want to do, or is it that you're glad that you made it through it?
I'm glad I made it through. I'm like, I'll help somebody, but like, I don't know. I can help, but
Well, I think it's important to also note that there are different ways of helping people, right? Like Tanya put in the comments, y'all are helping some people. So whether you know it or not, just by doing this is helping somebody. Just by being courageous enough to share your story. There's somebody that's out there right now that may be dealing with scoliosis, or they may have a child, a niece, a nephew who's dealing with scoliosis, and maybe they either didn't understand it, they didn't know what to expect, they were afraid to allow their child to have this surgery. So to be able to see you all like good, I mean, y'all are good, you can't even detect that you had a surgery. That's helping somebody. Believe it or not, just this is a help to somebody. So thank you. I thank y'all for being courageous enough to get on camera. A lot of people don't want to share their intimate details and tell people what it is that they went through. So I thank you ladies for being courageous enough to do that. So Ariana, what's in the future for you? What does the future hold? Whether you talk about the immediate future or so within this year or within the next 3 to 5 years, any future, what does it look like for you?
College, hopefully something with music, and then I want to be a nail tech.
Okay. Angel.
um, I want to be an actor. I want to be a dancer, and I want to be a musician.
And she's already lined up with all of that stuff. So she's already taken acting lessons, and you guys saw when she kind of invaded my show a couple weeks ago, because we gave the phenomenal news that she nailed an audition. And so, in nailing that audition, she got invited to the Los Angeles talent tour that is taking place in May. And so, already she gets to go to California to participate and audition in front of people that's going to be there from Disney and Netflix and Paramount and all types of stuff. So, that's just a great opportunity already. And then with dancing, she's been doing that for, is this 2 years or 3 years now with this job? Two.
Like almost two.
So right at 2 years, she goes to school full time. She comes home, she has acting lessons and then dance lessons, or dance lessons and acting lessons on Mondays, and then dance lessons on Tuesdays, and then Bible class on Wednesday, and then piano lessons on Thursday. And she's also one of the musicians at our church. So everything that she's saying that one day she wants to do, low key, she's already doing it right now. So we just thank God for allowing us to be able to live our dreams, right? Like you don't have to wait until you get to be 30, 40, 50, 60 to begin to live your dreams. You can live your dreams right now. You want me to read that comment? Oh, Tanya said, or even the people who normally give excuses for not excelling, to hear your story gives others a push to go. Terry says, hello, everyone, divine peace and love. Thank you so much for tuning in, Terry. And so, what you said that you got all of that stuff that is lined up for you. And so, we just want to kind of jump on and share with you all. Now, I'm going to ask this, Ariana, if there was any type of words of encouragement or any final remarks, however you want to do it, that you would like to leave with people, what would that be? If you want to, if there was anything that people could know, whether it's about your personal journey, like anything about that, or just any words that you would like to leave with them, what would those words be?
Um, Stay strong, stay encouraged. Try be around people who gonna help you and not hurt you. Don't be around people that's gonna tell you that you can't do it or that don't make sense. Or, are you sure? Don't be around people like that. Do your best to stay strong.
That's good. Angel?
Um, I say you gotta push through it because it might be hard, but like if you want to get better, you gotta be able to do it regardless.
I love that. Can somebody put that in the comment section? Do it regardless. I love that. Do it regardless. We hear it all the time where people say, do it scared. Whatever, however you're feeling, do it scared, do it nervous, do it, fearfully, do it. We pray that you don't have fear or doubt or worry or anxiety because God didn't give us those spirits. However, don't allow those spirits to stop you from doing it. Do it regardless. So, regardless of if you know what the end is going to be like, regardless of how it makes you feel, because there are things that we do when we are attempting like new levels and we're attempting to go through doors we've never gone through before. It's nervousing sometimes, right? I was talking to their youngest sister on the way to school. I was dropping her off to school today, and we were talking about an issue that she had in class, and I was asking her about it, and she was just saying to me how she's a little nervous to read out loud. And I was telling her, I said, look, I said, you have to do it anyway because you already know how to read, and just because you don't know whether or not people will say something about it, do it anyway. Like, there's so many things that I'm doing in my life, and again, it does not mean that I've made it. I'm not even saying that I'm the marker for anybody to try to emulate. But what I am saying is there's so many things that I attempted. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't already have a roadmap. I didn't know what the end was going to be. It was just that for me, I would rather do it and fail than to not do it at all and always wonder what it would have been if I would have tried, right? So it's just, do it regardless. They did these surgeries together, not knowing, as Ariana said in the beginning, not knowing how it was going to work out, but they did it regardless. And look at them now, like they are up and they inspire me every day. I was telling Ariana the other day, it's like, I'll never forget their journey. And I mean, I know they're the ones who had the surgery, but since I was there every day with them, there are certain experiences that I gained as well because I was in the room, being able to see strength that they had that I didn't even know that they had. I will never forget the night when this child here, she was just crying and just calling on the name of Jesus because of how much pain she was in and just wanted the pain to be over. She wasn't gonna take the medicine because the doctors would come in and say, well, but just take the medicine. She's like, I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it. And she would just continue to just call out because I told her, I said, Ariana, I said, you are old enough now. You know Jesus. We pray and all of this. So at this point, you have to You have to call him for yourself. And this child, she just would begin to call on his name and just, I mean, cry out. And y'all know when you get to that point where you ain't playing and you just sincere, you need God to come on your behalf. And when I tell you that issue, that you remember the issue that I'm talking about when this happened, right? Was it even 24 hours later when you gave me the testimony of the breakthrough that you had?
I think it was the next morning or so.
It was like the next morning. So this pain that she was going through, she received a breakthrough the next morning. And again, this is what I'm trying to tell y'all. I don't care what you look at. You can look at specific examples. All of this is nothing but life lessons, right? Like the Bible says, behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me? And so I'm telling you what I know from experience. No matter what you're going through, no matter what the issue is, if you present it to him and you just trust God to be God, he will show up for you. He did it for her. He did it for her. He's done it for me. God is no respecter of persons. Whatever it is that you present to him, he will also do it for you. So now, Angel, do it regardless. So, what is it that you are going to do regardless?
Keep pushing. I don't know.
It's not a right or wrong answer.
I
Just do life regardless, right? Are you gonna just do life regardless? So this is us, y'all. This is what it is. Um, this is, we just want to come to you all, and it was just, again, this is a special edition. I don't necessarily, like, Wednesdays are typically like my makeup days, right? So like if for whatever reason I can't go live Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday, then I typically will make it up on a Wednesday. But today I just wanted to come and I wanted to share, I wanted them to share their story. So happy anniversary, ladies. Like, you all made it through. It has been a year. Do it seem like a year?
not for real.
Not for real.
Mm-mm.
Seem like just yesterday.
Nah, but it don't feel like a year.
What about you, Ari? What you think?
Just a memory.
Just a memory. And I don't even know if she saw my thing, but that's what I put on the caption with their picture. And this is how I'll end it. Like, a lot of times when we are going through storms, so whatever your storm may be, your trial, tribulation, hardship, whatever it may be, in that moment, it seems like it'll never end. In that moment, it seems like time has stood still. Like, forget that it's going slow. It seems like time has stood still. But I promise you, as my grandmother would say, if you just keep living, that time goes by, and next thing you know, no matter how troublesome, no matter how much turmoil it was, no matter how painful it was, it passes. And then it simply becomes a memory. So you guys keep on living, keep pushing, and do it regardless. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And I do ask that you join me tomorrow for another episode of Inspirational Talk with Tennille. But this time, this will be the Powerful Black Man edition, where my guest will be none other than Mr. Bruce Oliver. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And if you like what you heard, I ask that you be like Terry and tag some folk to this broadcast that you believe would benefit from hearing what they had to say. And then take another quick second to hit the share button. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Angel, you happy? This child is sleepy. But all right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Y'all tell the people bye. All right, y'all. Good night.